Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jordan and Drew, the sports crew. I am Jordon Lawrenz, a freshman at the UWGB Manitowoc campus. Yes, I do live on campus, in case you were wondering. I am going for a sports communication major. That's the goal, to be a sports broadcaster. So we're working through that. I've been doing play-by-play and color commentary for 3 years now already. So getting a head start, jump start on that, football and basketball. I've only done a few football games, but basketball is my main thing. Is I've got the D2 championship on right now. We'll talk about it in a minute. But Drew Skyberg, the other man with me here on this podcast.
Yep, and as some of you might know, we had a former podcast, but we'll leave it at that. I'm a senior at Valdez High School, and I plan to go to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in the fall to study finance and a Spanish minor. So yeah, big flex. And Jordan and I have been together for a couple of years now, so we got that chemistry. I did some games with him on WMT, so yeah, it's a good show. This will be a great show. I promise you that.
We've got some big things planned, and eventually I think we're going to add some guests on here too. We'll have some other people come on. We can talk about some things. But before we get into it, we wanted to talk about format of the show. This is the pilot episode one. I don't even know what we're calling it at this point, but what we're going to do for this show, it's going to follow a nice basic format. Probably, depends on if we do interviews or not, but probably around that 30-minute mark, I would have to say is what our goal is going to be. So we're obviously going to start intro, any loose ends we need to cover from last week, whatever that may be. Then we're going to do a fun one on this day in sports history. So each and every Monday, this podcast is going to drop. So we're recording this Saturday night, but obviously we're reading stuff that happened on that Monday. So on March 8th, that's the day we'll be talking about for on this day in history. And then following that, we are going to talk about sports, just in the week of sports, anything big that happened. We did some fun things today. So we'll talk about that, obviously. And then I'm going to round it off with trivia. We've got I put together a very fun concept. Drew will be answering the questions. I've got a wheel lined up. So there's 6 options, I'm pretty sure. We've got grab bag, which is just a bunch of random questions on years of just anything that happened. We've got college mascots, NFL MVP winners, all-time NBA statistics, Green Bay Packers 2019-20 season, and then Drew's choice. So the hometown hero gets to pick
Yes,
if the
sir.
wheel ends on that. So we'll be looking forward to that. That'll end each and every episode. Obviously, if we have guests, we'll change up the trivia to suit them better, give them a better shot. Because, Drew, you're just going to win it all, right? You're going to go 5 for 5 on
Yeah,
all these.
I do have a history of winning the trivia, like with our Dairy Queen trivia in the past. And then I don't know if we do some EWC trivia. Watch out, you know.
A little call out right there to the future.
Yeah, that's a little hint about what we have in mind and what we have in plan. So don't
Episode 3
miss it.
potentially. Yeah, true. And yeah, like you said, Dairy Queen, that's where we met. We worked together. It was all Valdez kids basically, and me from Manitowoc, but the Valdez takeover at Dairy Queen on Calumet Avenue. But that was that. That's in the past. Now we're looking ahead to the future. Pewaukee is winning 38-24, by the way, in the second half. So big upset potentially over Alaska. And
That's a
before we
surprise. Yeah.
talk, yeah, that's very surprising. We thought Alaska would do that. So before we get into what we went to today, which was state. We'll talk about it eventually, but we're going to do on this day in sports history. So March 8th, 2021, that is today's date. I think about 5 things a week is what we're going to look at, because I feel like that's just a good mix. It's a good number to get things going. Keep this nice and short. We'll talk about some of these things if we want to. So let's go back to 1900, Drew. On this day in history, the NL, the National League, decides to go with 8 teams. They exclude Baltimore, Cleveland, Louisville, and Washington. So a Louisville baseball team back in the 1900s. We're going way back
Wow.
there.
Who knew?
What's that? 121 years
Yeah.
back to the NL. Staying with MLB in 1930, I think you'll get a kick out of this one. Babe Ruth signed a 2-year contract for $160,000. And the Yankees general manager, Ed Barrow, at the time, he said no one will ever be paid more than Babe Ruth.
Freezing cold take of all time, right there. Well, come on.
A 2-year, $160,000 contract. Back in 1930, though, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But then we're going to be talking about some contracts coming up here at J.J. Watt and Jackie Bradley Jr. Just a little more than 160 grand, I would say, for 2 years. in 1936, on this day, we were just making fun of NASCAR before, but I thought this was a fun little thing. The first stock car race is held in Daytona Beach, Florida. So, I mean, that's big because Daytona Beach is always one of their biggest things you always hear about. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I can never announce NASCAR. It's you spinning in a circle. That's all. It's
Left
definitely not my
turn,
forte.
left turn.
Oh, he turns right into the wall. Yeah, I don't know. People like it though, and hey, that's on them. Nothing
Yep.
wrong with that. There's two things on this day in 1971. You'll like this one, Drew. On 1971, the Bucks won their 20th straight NBA game, which was their team record. I don't think they've broke it since.
They were close, I think. Remember last year they had that big win streak. I don't know if they
Yeah,
broke it. I don't think they did.
I don't
So
think so because we probably would have heard more about it. But
yeah,
20-game win streak, I think that's their
yeah,
all-time record. And not a big Bucks fan. I mean, you can tell right now with my Celtics headphones on, but I'm not a big NBA fan in general. So, and then the big one to wrap things off on this day in 1971, Joe Frazier ends Muhammad Ali's 31 fight winning streak at Madison Square Garden, retaining his heavyweight title by unanimous decision in the 15-round fight of the century. So, I mean, you probably don't care too much about that, but Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, that's big stuff back in
yeah. Even I
71.
know those people, and I'm not big into boxing. So
No?
yeah,
Those are just household names, I would have to say. I did a history project on Muhammad Ali back in the day in my history class freshman year, so that's my flex on that. Now we're going to move to our weekly sports talk. I think this will probably be our longest segment on each show. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. We don't really have a limit on how much we're going to talk on. Some weeks, obviously, it'll be a lot more than others. But Drew, I kind of mentioned it before briefly, but tell everyone what we did today on Saturday.
yep. So myself, Jordon Lawrenz, and then one of our friends and his dad. We went to state basketball, and obviously, as you guys all know, with the pandemic this year, it's not really state basketball with the same atmosphere, which it was still a great time. It's usually at the Kohl Center in Madison, but this year divisions 1 and 3 were at the Menominee Nations Arena in Oshkosh, and then the divisions 2, 4, and 5 were in La Crosse. So luckily, Jordan and I were able to get some tickets with one of our friends, and we were able to head to Oshkosh today and see Division 1 basketball, the state semi, which was great. I went yesterday as well. I saw Division 3 yesterday. I saw a semi and a championship game, which was phenomenal. And just the experience, it's still you can't authenticate a state experience from like at the Kohl Center, but they were pretty close. Let me tell you, it was great.
Yeah,
It was loud.
yeah.
It was fun.
And when you say yesterday, you mean Friday, obviously, because this is dropping Monday. So just to give the people a
yeah,
little thing, not
yeah.
that they're
We're
stayed on
recording
Sunday,
Saturday
but
night.
just making
It's the
sure.
pilot.
Yes, we'll get there.
But
Kimberly and DeForest, that game sold out immediately. We didn't get tickets to that. That was at what, like 10:30 maybe at
that was at
Oshkosh?
2:45. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
started.
close enough. Kimberly ends up beating DeForest 63-42. We were at the Wauwatosa East and River Falls game, and Drew wrongly predicted River Falls was going to win. A downfall there. River Falls was led by they had JT Daughtry, 25 points, the 6'9" player, and the other Daughtry, Liam, also 6'9". He only had 2 points. He was your big disappointment on the day.
Yes, he was. I was really high on because they had was it Zach Johnson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Zach
Yep.
Johnson, he was a phenomenal player regular season, averaged 25 a game, 25 and 6, I believe, and he just he got he got beat today by his guy. I mean, they had what was the guy's name? They had number 21,
21.
20 or on
24.
yeah 24. They had he
Brian
played well
Parzik.
defensively and
Yeah.
really Zach Johnson could get anything going. He fouled out at the end, and it was kind of a tough end for his great career. So
Yeah, you
yeah,
said it
but
when we were there. Underperformed. He had
yeah,
13 in that
that
game.
Daughtry
And like,
boy, one of the Daughtry boys showed up today.
yeah,
Said
JT did. And
JT was a stud, 25 points. He was from everywhere. We was shooting from the G League line. He pulled the dude back there. And everything was falling for him, and it was a great game. And then Liam kind of let's just say disappointed everyone.
he was 1 of 5 from field goals and then 0 of 3 from behind the arc. JT, he's 6'9" as a player. He was 6 of 9 from 3-point range. So good for him. 8 of 15 shooting field goals, 3 of 4 from the line. Like we said, he led the way all ways, 25 points. As for Wauwatosa East, their best player, Brian Parzik, something like that.
I was thinking, yeah.
PARC. Yeah, he had 19 points. He was the leading scorer. He had 10 in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then he really cooled down, but he was on pace for a huge game. And then number one really stood out. Jay Hankson Jr., 13 points for him. He had himself a heck of a game. He showed up when Brian really wasn't playing that well, and he stepped up. The 3 pointers were really what kept River Falls in this game. They were 10 of 20. So, I mean, 50%. They were hitting them early. And while I didn't score for the first 5 minutes or so, it
No,
was
they did.
9-0.
It was like Wauwatosa would go up 7 or 8, and then here comes River Falls, bring it down to 5 or 4, and then they go up 12, and then River Falls brings it down to 6, and then at the end, 3 minutes left. I was telling you, like, River Falls, they can do this. They're up one, they had momentum, and then it just all fell apart. With Johnson getting his fifth foul, and then just turnovers and sloppy play at the end. Just it hurt River Falls, and and they had to head home.
They got their first lead of the game, I think, with like 4 minutes left. So they were playing from behind for a good part of it. As it's 45-27, Onalaska is losing right now in the D2 championship. So now we know tonight at 8:30, Kimberly 25-2 overall on the year. I think we can both fairly predict they're going to beat Wauwatosa East, but Wauwatosa East, they're a really good team. I mean, they got their big guy who I was a fan of, Marcus Mobau, 6 points he had in this game. It says he has 11 rebounds. I feel like he had a lot more than that, but
Big
he's a
boy.
machine from down low. It says he played 34 minutes,
Yeah,
and
and I
he
also
is
got a fact for you on him. He's going this fall to play football at Purdue University.
football, huh?
Football,
I can
yep.
see it.
He's a big boy, yeah, and he's lineman.
Good for him. You're on a state basketball team and then playing football, so
Yeah,
he can really do it all. And it's going to be a test for that team playing tonight again. They played at 2:10, so that game ended around like 4, a little before 4. So they've got maybe 4 hours of rest compared to Kimberly. I mean, you're looking at a few hours advantage rest for Kimberly, which if it's a close game coming down to the wire, advantage definitely going to go to Kimberly there.
and
So we
so
just
far
mentioned
yeah, so far in the tournament we've seen that where hey, the team that gets the most rest has been like they've been prepared for that game. It's been shown multiple games this tournament already.
a lot of one seeds coming out on top. So we just mentioned football. How about it? J.J. Watt. He signed with the Cardinals. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Just a 2-year deal. J.J. Watt, $31 million. The deal's worth 23 million of that is guaranteed money. So Jackie Robinson, eat your heart out with or Babe Ruth, sorry, 160 grand. I mean, 23 million guaranteed for 2 years,
Crazy.
including a $12 million signing bonus. JJ Watt that is absurd to be getting that much money. And Cardinals defense this year, they might be pretty solid.
I would totally agree with that statement. I think I know as a Packer fan, a lot of us wanted him to come here, but hey, he went where the money was talking, and that took him to Arizona. And yeah, like you said, they're gonna have a great defense. Buda Baker. You got Watt now, and yeah, it's gonna be a great year for the Cardinals defensively. Maybe
You're going to see
offense
what
too with Hopkins. You got Kyler Murray. It'll be a great year, maybe. Maybe.
maybe is the key point there. We'll see how it turns out. Speaking of great years, switching to the Brewers now. They started off their spring training hot, but now as we're recording this, they're 4-3, I think. So they lost today. What was it, 3-1 or something like that?
Yeah, it's the Cubs.
Yeah, to the Cubs, who are 4-1 overall. But the big Brewer news here, Jackie Bradley Jr. And I know you weren't too big on the signing of Jackie Bradley Jr. 2-year, $24 million contract. And the big thing here is he has a player option after the first season. So depending on how things goes, we might only be seeing JBJ for 1 year here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I'm kind of like not a fan of it, but like again, he had a great year last year. He had a career high, or his OBP was his career high, and it was a short season, so smaller sample size. But I was not a fan because of the whole. There's no more university DH. That was just a 1 year thing, which I actually enjoyed it, but it just is tough because when you have Avisail Garcia, you're gonna have Lorenzo Cain, you're gonna have Christian Yelich, and now you have Jackie Bradley Jr. You're not gonna pay a guy 2 year, $24 million to sit on the bench, are you? It just wouldn't work like that. And so now we're stuck where we have 4 great outfielders, but only 3 can start. But again, there's always injury and rest. But like, I just feel like, I mean, it's a good situation with the whole depth thing. But like, there's guys like Mark Mathias who showed some promise last year, and hey, like they might not get their chance this year, and it just kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know what you're saying about the depth thing. I really like it having the four guys. You got Garcia as well, and he's I'd say he's a better hitter than JBJ. JBJ is just kind of he's one of those players. I mean, Yelich slumped hard last year, but last year JBJ 283 he hit with 814 OPS. So those are up there. But like you said, smaller sample size. That was a pandemic season. Everything was changed. We're gonna have fans back at what is it even called? American Family Field.
American Family Insurance Field.
Yeah,
AmFam.
gonna take a while to get used to saying that. But with the four guys, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Craig Counsell does if he switches based on like lefty pitchers that day and stuff like that. So I think it's a good problem to have. Besides the money thing, 24 million for 2 years, that's a lot.
Because a lot of
And
people wanted that money, because the whole third baseman thing with like, hey, we want Justin Turner. Like that might have not gotten Justin Turner because obviously it would go for more money. But like the third base issue should have been addressed, I think, before the outfield issue is kind of the argument myself and many other Brewer fans want to make here. But hey, again, good problem, depth. So I'm okay with it. Let's see how it goes for a year. Maybe he accepts that player option. Maybe we get him another year. But if he doesn't, I guess let's just see how it goes.
yeah, it's just an experimental year. And I think Turner coming to the Brewers is kind of like Watt coming to the Packers. Like that's kind of wishful thinking. Like we all wanted it to happen, but in reality, was it really going to happen? Either of those? I don't think so. I mean, those are a little far fetched, but every single time there was Brewers news coming out, especially on Twitter, you'd always see the replies. First thing was Turner in the Brewer uniform with the hat and stuff. And I was like, I don't really think that's going to happen. And I think pitchers too is what some other people would want too, just for the Brewers to throw a whole lot of money out to get a starting pitcher or something. Our depth isn't too bad, but it's going to be a real test this year to see how everything goes. I know you're not a big UFC guy, but there's a card tonight starting at 9 o'clock per usual, as they always do. Three title fights, Drew. This is huge
Very
card.
exciting.
It's a lot of stuff going on here tonight. Thiago Santos, he's going to open the show in the light heavyweight bout. Drew Dober, lightweight bout, just some bigger names on there. And then we got Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title. That's a pick 'em. Both are at minus 110. So right down the middle of who you want to pick in that one. Jan, the current 135 title holder, Aljo, he's looking to get that belt. I mean, this is the champ versus the number one seed, so it doesn't get much better than that. And then the GOAT, Amanda Nunes, she will be defending her featherweight title against Megan Anderson. Nunes, a minus 1,250 favorite. I think she was
Wow.
minus 2,000 in her fight before this. But when I say she's the GOAT, like that word gets thrown around a lot, but she really is. She's beaten every top person. She knocked out Ronda Rousey in a minute. She stopped Chris Cyborg. She beat Holly Holm. Holly Holm, someone who beat Ronda Rousey. She beat Misha Tate way back at UFC 200 to start everything. And she is just absolutely unstoppable. But never say never when it comes to an upset for Megan Anderson. I just certainly don't think it's going to be happening tonight. And then in the main event, the middleweight champ, Israel Adesanya, he's stepping up light heavyweight. Light heavyweight's 205 pounds. Izzy usually fights at 185. Coming into this one, he weighed at 201.5. So Jan Blachowicz, he's going to certainly have a huge weight advantage because most of these fighters, they get to drink, they get to hydrate after the weigh-in. So he's going to be maybe around that 230 range, and he'll probably have a 30-pound weight
Wow.
advantage over Izzy. So it's going to be a big one there in the main event. He just won the title. That's being for Jan, and now he's facing Izzy, a guy who's been super dominant at the middleweight division, but can he step up and handle the power? That is the big question that we're going to have to see here tonight. Obviously, Monday, we'll already know what happened. We'll have it all done, and it'll be in the books as to what happened. 4 champions, 3 title fights, being 4 champions because Amanda Nunes is the current 135 and 145-pound title holder. So that's that, Drew. Are you ready for some trivia?
I am excited for this trivia. This is
This
my
is how
game.
we're gonna, yeah, it's how we're gonna wrap up every episode. 48-27, by the way, Alaska's losing. So I've got the wheel right here. There's 6 choices on it. Whichever choice it picks, that's what we're gonna do. And then we got 5 questions to talk about. This really at this stage is for nothing, just for bragging rights to see how many you can get right and test your knowledge. So we're gonna give this thing a spin. Could you hear it spinning in the background?
I could not hear it spinning.
Oh, okay, that was just on my end. All-time NBA statistics is
Oh,
what
let's
we're going to
go.
be doing. You said in the car you were going to be good at this, so
This is
we're
one
going
of
to
my
take a look.
categories. So
5 questions here. They're going to be different. Like some I'll be asking you to put things in order. Some will be asking a number. Some will be asking a name. It's going to be all over the place, and you're not going to cheat. We're not like that here. So, yeah, 5 questions coming up. You don't have to write them down. You can just tell me. Question number 1. Who has the most career NBA points?
Well, of course, the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Don't say of course. We're starting early, and then we're going to get harder.
Uh,
So you got the first one right. I'm going to mark these in red.
got
The
that good
ones you get
skyhook
right.
like me.
Yeah, like you. Next, question number 2. Arrange these names in order for who has the most 3-pointers made in NBA history. So the names: Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, and Steph Curry.
So it goes Allen, Miller, Allen, Curry, Miller.
That is correct. That is it. 2 of 2. I mean, I gave you the top 3 guys just in a different order. So
Yeah, that
you
was
did good. 2 of 2 to start. This is good. I feel like those two weren't too tough.
not too bad.
Okay. This next one you're gonna have to reach for. I don't think there's any way you get this one right. You're gonna have to pull this number out of somewhere. What is the most combined points in an NBA game?
Okay. It was in the 80s. It was like both teams scored 180 plus. I just got to guess what it was.
That is very correct so far.
I'm going to say, hold on, I got to do some math here.
Okay, go for it.
Ooh. I guess it's 370.
No way.
Yep. 188 to 182 is my guess.
Okay, it was 370. You got it right.
Let's go.
It was the Pistons beating the Nuggets
Yep.
in 1983, 186 to 184.
Oh, I was close. I thought
the
it was
score didn't
180.
matter. You got the points right. That's all
Oh,
that
wow, that
matters.
was tough.
You're 3 of 3 so far. Wow. Next question. You've got 3 options. You're going to pick the correct answer. How many steals did Michael Jordan have in his career? 1,947, 2,514, or 2,399?
Yeah, think about this because, hey, he played a while.
He did
He got a lot of steals,
1,947, 2,514, or 2,399.
I'm going to go C, 2,399.
That is incorrect.
No.
It was the big one.
What?
2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, 2,514. Got one wrong.
Darn.
I think you can recover. I think you can get this 5th one right. I'm not asking for how many, but who holds the most career dunks?
Shaquille O'Neal. It's got to be.
That's what I thought too, but it's not. It's Dwight Howard.
Wait. Oh, yeah. Okay.
2,825 dunks in his career.
Wow, that's an interesting fact. I would have not have guessed that.
You know, 3 of 5, not bad. I mean, that's a failing 60%, but
Hey, but I got the tough one right.
you did. Yeah, I was very surprised on the scoring one. I don't know how you got that one. That was a lucky guess.
Yeah, it kind of was because I thought I was like, I guessed that score. I was like, it was in the 180s, and I'm like, well, it was close. I remember because it was like a double overtime game too.
I think it was triple, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, something like that. So I was like,
Yeah,
I just put some numbers together, and I got 370.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's
Good stuff. Standing O. So that's our pilot. That's basically it. That's what we're going to be doing on a week-to-week basis. Trivia, definitely most exciting part, but our sports talk, we're going to get. We forgot something. Fan-controlled football. Let's briefly mention it. We are big Glacier Boys fans. They're playing right now. They're on Twitch. I don't like them being on Twitch, but where else are they going to go at the moment? They needed to start somewhere. I don't think this is big enough to get a TV deal, but year one, I thought it was a 6-week regular season. No, it's a 6-week season. So on Saturday, as we're recording this, the final week of the regular season, and the biggest news, Josh Gordon is playing on, what is it, the Zappers, right? That's where Johnny Manziel is?
I think it's the Zappers. I can quickly check.
Because he's playing with Johnny Manziel, I'm pretty sure. But he is ready to go. He will be playing. So by the time you're listening to this, he already played in the FCF. What a huge get. They already had Johnny Football come over. Johnny Manziel at the start of the year. On the Zappers now, we've got Manziel and Gordon. The Beasts are the undefeated team, and I'm pretty sure that's who the Zappers are playing here tonight. Let's see. The Glacier Boys are playing, the Glacier Boys and Wild Aces. and then it's the Beast and the Zapper. So can Johnny Manziel and Josh Gordon be the key to beating the Beast here tonight?
I think they could. I think they certainly can be. Johnny Football, it doesn't get any better than that.
It really does. He's been a little lackluster though, for sure.
Kind of.
Like
It's the
it's
name, though.
not.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what it was all about. They got a big name right away. I'm a level 9 on the app. I'm trying to play every game I can and do all the votes and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not picking plays right now, but the Glacier Boys, they're going to need our help. They 1-3 or
Yep.
1-2, sorry, 1-2 so far.
Maybe 1 and
They
3.
won their second game. They came back from being behind 22-0. So if that's the only game we win all year, I've got no problem with that.
Same. I love my Glacier Boys, and some of my friends were fans of. I think it was the Zappers who they played last week, right? When they made
Yes,
up
yeah. The comeback was the Zappers.
Yeah, against the Zappers, and my friends, they were talking some some sauce to me, and then look, we came back down 22-0, and I was just like, I was just celebrating, flexing on them. It was exciting. Go Glacier Boys.
It's no different than in the Super Bowl when it was 28-3 and there's the big comeback. This is our 28-3 in the FCF. 22-0 we were down and we came back. We should have beat the Beast last week, but the ref screwed us over with the pass interference call. You didn't see it, I don't think, but he called it in the end zone.
Yeah,
it was great defense, but whatever. Then we lost that game, and that's that. All because of the onside kick. Onside kick rule is so weird. They go from the 10-yard, their own 10-yard line, and they have a 1st and 10. If they convert, they get the ball at that spot. If they don't convert, the other team gets the ball. That's how the onside works in the FCF. It is, yeah, it's very weird, but it ended up working in the Beast's favor, and they came back to win last week over the Glaciers. So hopefully, Glaciers get a win tonight. And as you're listening to this on Monday, we'll be 2-2 going into the playoffs because it's the Beast at the top, and then down below, it's I think every team is 1-1 or 1-2. I'm pretty sure.
That probably sounds right.
I think it's 3-0, 1-2 down the line. So yeah, that's basically it for our pilot here. I don't want to call it episode 1. Next week will be episode 1. This is the pilot. We've decided that we're just going to go with that. This is the first time Marquette plays at 8 o'clock. That's right. I forgot about that.
Senior night. Let's go.
Yeah, they play Xavier. Just got that notification. So yeah, that's it for our pilot here. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. You can follow me on Twitter at JordanLaw_PXP, and that stands for play-by-play for those of you that aren't aware. I got it from Brian Anderson, the GOAT. So that's where I got it from. Drew, what do you got?
You can follow me on Twitter at DrewSky160 or Instagram at DrewSky16. And yeah, we'll be back next week. We might have a special guest next week, and it's going to be a great time.
Yeah, next week or the week after, we're going to figure it out. So that is basically it. Thank you for listening to the inaugural edition of Jordan and Drew, the Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.